Julia Royston spends her days doing what she loves: writing, publishing, speaking, and coaching others to write and monetize their messages to the world. Well, here on the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show in episode 720, yep, you heard that correct, 720, we have an amazing show topic today: write the book that builds the brand. We're excited to have you here live on the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show, broadcasting from the capital city of Richmond, Virginia. We're going to get right into it right after this quick intro. Don't you move.
Whoa. Why y'all so happy?
You don't know? Sharvette Mitchell is on the radio.
It's time to get motivated, excited, and influenced. Why? It's the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show, live from Richmond, Virginia. And now, here to motivate, excite, and influence you, Sharvette Mitchell.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show, broadcasting live from the capital city of Richmond, Virginia, but heard and seen all across the World Wide Web. We are so excited to have all of you that are watching from 3 or 4 different places on Facebook, those that are checking us out on YouTube, those that are on LinkedIn, Twitter. We're glad to have you. You might be hanging out at sharvette.com. We appreciate you. Or you might be listening later on a podcast of this episode in Apple or Stitcher or Spotify, and certainly those that check us out on Blog Talk Radio. We're glad to have you, where the goal of this show is to motivate, excite, and influence. And today's topic is going to do that. This is in particular, I'm going to say, for our business owners, for our solopreneurs, for those that have been thinking about writing a book, which raise your hand in the chat, raise your hand in the comments if you've been thinking about that. We're going to talk about write the book that builds the brand. We're super excited because Julia Royston is with us, hanging out in the virtual studio. Listen, Julia was with us for our last live event here in Richmond, Virginia, the Platform Builder Summit. She knocked it out of the park, and we're going to be chatting it up with her. Welcome to all those that are coming on in. Hey, Michelle, I just left your area. I just left Georgia not too long ago. Thank you for popping on in. Kim and Deborah over on YouTube, always holding it down over there. We're excited to have you all. This segment, let me just say, this segment is brought to you by, I'm so excited, my 6th book collaboration. We start pre-orders next week, February 5th. The book is called Positioned to Pivot. And I have got to tell you, I am so tickled pink, as my auntie from Millersville, Georgia would say. I'm so tickled pink about Positioned to Pivot because I've joined forces with 11 of my clients that are in our Platform Builder program. And we've put together this amazing book. And in particular, I'm super excited because my chapter is focused on those of you that are in corporate America, because guess what? Do you know you are actually managing a visibility strategy on your job? Did you know you're managing a brand on your job? And so my chapter, it's the Platform Builder corporate version called Building Your Personal Brand in the Workplace to Increase Your Morale and to Own Your Career Destiny. So listen, when the pre-orders start for Position to Pivot, we're going to make sure you know all about it. And we want you just to order thousands and thousands and thousands of them. So we're excited. We're going to talk a little bit more about it later on. But let me introduce my guest who is waiting in the wings. We see you. Yes. We see you there coming on in. We see the hearts and the love that's coming on up. And so again, Julia Royston is with us. Listen, her why and her motto is helping you get your message to the masses and turn your words into wealth. That is her why and her motto. And to date, Julia has written 90 plus books. She has published 400 plus books. She's recorded 3 music CDs and coached more than 250 people to be published authors in the book business. So listen, that's some street cred right there, some receipts. She's the owner of 5 companies, a nonprofit organization. She's the editor of the book Business Boss magazine, as well as the host of Live Your Best Life that you can hear on Envision Radio. And she's here with us on the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. Put your hands together and welcome Julia Royston to the stage. Hey, Julia.
Hi, hello, hello, hello. How's everybody?
Oh, yay! Hey, girl. Hey, we are so excited to have you and to chat. Thank you so much again for being with us in Richmond, Virginia, back in November, which seems like so long ago now, right?
Right. But it wasn't that long ago.
Right. It wasn't that long ago. Absolutely. And so I want to make sure our audience and our new listeners, because, the audience is always growing. So you're certainly back by popular demand, I should say. But let us know when you fell in love with writing and when you fell in love with books.
So I fell in love with books before I could read. My mother read to us every night before we went to bed. And my mother is an extrovert and loves people, and she made every book exciting. I don't care. Dick, Jane, and Spot, they was running and I was running and and so therefore I've always loved books. My dad was a retired teacher, so educator, so books, reading. I'm that child who was under the covers late at night with my flashlight because all the lights was out in the house. My dad didn't see the light, and he's talking about turn the light off, Julia. It's time to go to bed. You got school in the morning. So I'm that child. So when I really fell in love with writing came much later. I went through a difficult time. I went through a divorce. I tell people I was in graduate school. I got a divorce and a degree at the same time. And writing was my outlet. Writing was my saving grace. Writing was my therapy. And miraculously, and as only God would have it, none of my writing had anything to do with divorce or any of that. So don't look up any of my stuff. He did. It's not even in there. I was looking for the light at the end of the tunnel. So all of my writing seeks to not only educate, but inspire you and motivate you to be your best self and live your best life. So that negativity world, it happens, it's realistic, but I'm not really writing about it. So that has really been, besides the needs of my clients, and then stuff I'm just passionate about, children's books and fiction. That's just what I love to write. So I've been 16 years in the game.
Wow.
2024 to be 16 years publishing and helping other people write. And prior to that, it's probably another probably 20, 25 years. So I've been doing this quite a bit and quite a while. So I love it all. I love it.
Thank you for sharing that that background. And so as we're going to talk about today, write the book that builds the brand. I think there are a lot of people that raise their hand to say, I want to write a book. I love this thought of writing a book that builds the brand. And so why is it important for entrepreneurs, business owners, experts, and leaders to write a book that is really around their brand?
Well, when I stated this at the Platform Builder Summit, and just a plug, if you've never been, as soon as she opens the doors, you need to jump on in, okay? But when I went to work for a Fortune 500 company, that was the first thing they gave us was a planner and the history of the company, of who they were. And so it is a way to not only tell your history, but to also introduce you as a business owner, but also introduce your perspective of your industry. So it is enabling you to give voice to what your expertise is and the way you see the industry itself. So therefore, that's really kind of number one. So I realize that some people like to write their memoirs, and I've had a lot of things go on with my life, and you should write that. But there should be one book in your collection, in your catalog, that specifically aligns with your brand. Now, if your story and your memoir does that, great, wonderful. And then you can flip it into coaching, etc. But there should be one book that really signifies. It should be your signature book, your brand book. And if I started naming some, you would know who the authors were. If I started naming these books, you would know that book was a complete turnaround for that person, ministry, coach, motivational speaker, and the rest is history. So that's really kind of the beginnings of giving the background, introducing your perspective on your industry. And that's so important.
So important. And a shout out to Carla R. Jenkins. We see that you retweeted us on Twitter. So thank you so much for doing that. And so I love this because oftentimes the clients that I work with are experts, they're professional service providers. And a lot of times the consumer is making the buying decision based off of that person's brand or the perception of what that person brings to the table or what they know or their expertise. And so having documented intellectual property in a book just really kind of helps to elevate your platform and elevate your brand. And so name drop, if you will. So for some people who are sitting on the fence, like I'm trying to get my head around this.
Okay, so we know Joyce Meyer as a phenomenal minister, but that Battlefield of the Mind is still a bestseller, New York Times bestseller for ages. So there are some people that you connect with a book that just transforms everything. I mean, Color Purple. Now we've not only had the regular movie, now we've had a remake movie 20 years later that is a hit. And now we've entered the award season again. And that movie is like, it's a musical. So now it's a play on Broadway. I mean, it just transformed everything. Who would have thought? I mean, if I had my idea, I would love to ask. So did you really think it would do all what it did?
They couldn't have thought.
No, you're just writing what's in your heart. You're writing what's in your head. You're writing what God gave you. So that's just two major ones with powerhouse female in fiction and nonfiction and ministry and fiction that have really transformed their lives and the way we see and impacted generations now. Now we're moving into 20 years. Now we've seen a whole new generation of actors and actresses that are benefiting from one book.
From one book. And it could be your book. Hey there, if you just tuned in, you're checking out the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. We're chatting it up here with Julia Royston, publisher, author, speaker. Listen, has written 90 plus books herself, published 400 plus, recorded 3 music CDs, coached more than 250 to be published authors. Matter of fact, we originally met because of your singing.
Yes, ma'am.
I started to say career ministry. We met because of your
whatever
singing.
that was. Yeah, it was what it was. It's still there. Thank you.
Awesome. And so for the person that's listening, saying, okay, if I want to write a book that really is going to help build my brand, what are 1 or 2 things that you would say to them that they need to really kind of have in place or think through as they get started?
Well, what are the important principles or what are the important things that you really want a potential client to know? Is it your history or your backstory? Is it you lost everything and the house burned down and then you created something new? Or is it that you were transformed by COVID and realized, or you lost a job, something you felt like you had hit rock bottom and then God gave you an idea that transformed everything? Or were you on a job for 25 years and they decided to downsize, just like companies are doing? And then you took your expertise and that 25-year history and turned that into something else. So who do you want to work with? Knowing who your audience is and who you really want to connect with. Who are you as a person? Who are you deep down inside and what you actually bring to the table? So it's who you want to talk to and then what you want to talk about and then the format you want to deliver it in. Is it, here's the 10 principles for working with a real estate agency, or here are the 12 steps to better beauty for the plus size woman? Hey, I'll buy that. Okay, and here are 7 steps to having your own hair salon and what you've learned and then lead them into coaching and whatever the next level is. So think about your particular brand. What do you actually love? What are you passionate about? What have you learned? The good, bad, and the ugly that would make and transform somebody else's life. Success leaves clues. So what clues do you want to deliver? Now, on the other hand, there may be some principles or some steps that you may have to have in a workbook. What are the documents that people need before they buy a house? Or what are the things that they need to have in order? And you're not really giving away all the, okay, I was born in Kentucky, so it's the 11 herbs and spices, KFC. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're not really giving away the 11 herbs and spices, but you're telling people to prepare to work with you, to prepare to come to you. So when they come to you, they need to have that in order. And if they don't have it in order, this is what you need to do. Here are the next steps to get that in order to be able to work with you. So it just all depends on what avenue you want to go from and what perspective you want to go to. And also, some media does not even want to interview you unless you've written a book, because that gives them an idea who you are. Yes, ma'am. Who you are, your voice. When they meet you, they need to be able to know that that's you, not just because you match the back of the book, but what comes out of your mouth needs to match what's inside the book. And of course, coincide with the topic that they're speaking on. So they know what avenue you're coming before you're on. They know what you're talking about, what you're going to talk about, and what you bring to the table. But having that in a book, your intellectual property that you can garner royalties on forever, pass it down to your next generation, and create businesses, other products and services, monetize it in multiplicity of ways,
Come on.
formats, is just unbelievable. It's not just the work of your hands. It could be money while you sleep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Vincent. He said, loving this talk. Hey, Julia.
Hey, Vincent. Long time no see. How you doing?
Popping on in. Hey, Ayana Smith, this is really good. Build the book around the brand. And Ayana has a brand new book collaboration.
I saw that
coming out. I think she got the books in the mail, and I'm always saying to clients, in particular, if you're speaking, if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur, and you do speaking engagements, that this thought of write a book that builds your brand, to ensure if you're doing speaking engagements, that you have some of the things you're talking about on the stage in a book that you can expound on. That way, they can go back to the back of the room or the where the conference vending area is and get more. And a lot of times too, what I love, a book is a low hanging fruit, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to toss around, struggle too much on $20, $25. And so it's a way for people to taste test you and know that you know what you're talking about. You agree?
Yes. And take you home. Because that's another thing. Now I have to give a shout out to the attendees of the platform builders. My book, Write the Book That Builds a Brand, was sold out. Did I say sold out? Sold out. I didn't have a one when I got, but when I was done, it was all over. And that's a prime example when you're speaking to your target audience. Yes, your mouth meets your book. And so when you're talking to the audience of your book, and they connect with what you're saying, and then your book is at the table, you have the potential to sell out. You have the potential for them to want to take you home. They can't physically take you home. And whether it's recorded or not, that book helps them take you home. Also, that book should have contact information inside it where people can connect with you and work with you and take it to the next level beyond the book.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there are, multiple ways that people can, really start this book journey. And so I love that you mentioned certainly a standalone book, but then there's workbooks. I am a fan of book collaborations. And so I do collaborations with our clients so that we make the writing a little bit more palatable, because like, hey, just give me 3,000 to 5,000 words. And I've done exactly for instance, our platform builder framework, the first book, the first collaboration was, here's the framework. And here's how to build your brand. And so if somebody's like, hey, do you have more on that? Yep. Grab our book, Propel.
Right. Yes.
And interestingly enough, this new book that I've just mentioned, Position to Pivot, that we'll be starting pre-orders next week, empowering strategies for your next chapter. Here's the interesting thing that started happening, Julia. We certainly focus with entrepreneurs and small business owners. However, visibility, branding works in the workplace. So I started having clients, the platform builder clients who were really there to grow their businesses and maybe a side business, started saying, hey, I'm getting promoted and opportunities on my job because there's some similar principles to building your visibility, building your strength. And so that is why this is going in this particular book. So that's going, the Platform Builder Corporate is going to be a brand all of its own.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, most definitely, because it does transcend, I know some coaches who say, quit your job. And I'm like, well, everybody's in different places. And,
Right.
I retired from my job, so I can't tell anybody to quit a job without a pension. I mean,
Right.
if it offers that. Now, Sharvette, she has a different testimony. She walked and built it. So I really tell people to do what works best for them. But more importantly, I guess my biggest advice along that same lines is always be thinking of how you can turn this something that you can do yourself into your own business. Have that in the back of your mind, whether you want to call it, oh, this is kind of my little side hustle, I don't know, because I've seen some side hustles grow into some 6 and 7 figure brands. So I don't diminish anybody's. The Bible tells us despise not small beginnings. So we're not gonna because you just never know where you're going and where you're gonna head. But always be making notes every year. Write down, what did you learn? What do you do now that you didn't do 5 years ago on that job? And realize that some jobs, whether they want to be or not, they can't be loyal. They have to make those critical bottom line decisions. So it's not personal, it's business.
Right.
So you got to make sure you take care of your business as well. And, be loyal, do your job, but always in the back of your mind, Lord, if you move me, here's my plan of action. Let me get the book, Sharvette's latest book, when it comes out, when the pre-orders come, make sure you pick that up so you can have those strategies already in place. So you can just say, okay, if this happened, what would I do? And what would be my next steps? You always do your research and your homework ahead of time. Don't wait until tragedy strikes. Always have a backup plan ready and ready to go. And you get these tools, and she gives us those tools every, Wednesday, the training sessions. And I'm like, wait a minute, I just got it in the background while I'm working on a book. I'm serious.
Thank you for that shout out.
You've got to be training yourself. You've got to be preparing for whatever is next and be ready to pivot on a dime, as the old folks used to say. I pivoted on a dime. Well, we don't know whether it was a dime or a quarter we had in 2020, but we knew we had to pivot. We knew we had to be able to shift gears quickly. And the more you have in your resources, your toolkit, your tool bag to learn, even if you're not ready to act on it immediately, you need to have it prepared and ready to go. What would it look like? What would your tag be? What would your business look like? What would you love to be doing if you could just work for yourself solely? What would that look like?
Yeah.
Good question to ask yourself.
Good question to ask. I'm loving this. If you just popped in, hey, we're chatting it up here with Julia Royston. Julia, where can people connect with you? Or some people might be listening saying, I'm ready to write that, that book that is going to build my brand. I'm ready to write the book that's about my framework. I'm ready to write that book. I see the hearts coming in from the Hey Girl Hey community. I'm ready to write that book that literally just answers frequently asked questions, from customers. Another way to serve my clients. Where and how should they reach out to you?
Well, go to juliaroyston.com. Excuse me. That has all of my online stores. That has all of my calendars, all my websites. But talkwithroyston.com. That is my calendar. Jump on. Let's have a conversation. Yes, the first initial one is free. Yeah, I know. People are like, are you serious? Yes. If I talk to you, I can hear your heart. I can hear what's going on, and then I can properly direct you. Talkwithroyston.com. That's one of my online stores. Julia Royston stores. So I just, there it is, all my stuff.
I just want to do like proof, right? Receipts, right? Like,
I'm writing all the time. I got bundles. I got, it just is what it is. And shirts and just product.
product. So there you go. And wherever you are listening or watching, just look in the show notes. We have the links there for you on the screen as well. Podcast listeners, YouTube listeners, look in the show notes, and you'll see all of the information there. And so we're on this 6th book collaboration. So I feel so strongly about books, in particular for business owners, for experts, for leaders, just for some of the things that you mentioned. And I say all the time to clients that if you say author in any language,
Yes.
that's an expert. That is,
Yeah.
there is an implication that you are an expert in something,
Right.
because you were able to write.
There's also a level of celebrity, which you've talked about it before.
Yes.
But there is, hey, Michael Stewart. Oh my gosh, you still got all those. I have to give a shout out to Vincent Woodward, who's on earlier. He did my logo. He did the new BK Royston publisher. I don't know if he still does it. Should I have given you a shout out, Vince?
Let us know, Vincent.
I tell you, when people have seen my logo, that has beautiful. I said, oh my gosh, I don't know if he still does it. But anyway, hey, Michael Stewart, so proud of you too and all that you're doing in the music world. And people
Stella Awards,
you
red
still
carpet.
owe me. You owe me an interview, dude.
Listen,
I'll
holler back, Michael. Holler back.
I know, holler back. I mean, like, come on, no. But thanks so much.
Vincent is sticking his thumbs. Okay, so if you need a logo, check out Vincent Woodward. There you go.
Yeah, he's the cool. He's a great guy. Yeah,
awesome.
But so one of the things that as they say, I lost my thought, but I'm getting ready to get it back in just a second. So one of the biggest things about having your book, besides intellectual property, besides royalties and being able, because my attorney always says, remind people that you're passing that book down to the next generation, to your children and your children's children, even after you're gone. But you need to leave a legacy, not only just the money, but you need to leave a legacy that you were here. That you were here on this planet, and that you did not perform a job for 20 years or even 15 years and not have something to say. So launch and activate your voice. And being able to have that ability to launch and activate your voice as somebody who has been here, you realize that every time a president goes out of office, they normally are writing their memoirs, all those pictures. The Obama memoir is like over 700 pages because they achieved something that few people will do. So therefore, they want to, that's a part of their legacy. Yeah. So what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? What do you want to offer the next generation? Besides the clues to your success, besides just, the good things that happen, you also have to talk about the struggles, talk about what was difficult, the decisions, how you processed it all. Because there is a generation now that struggles with having parents, children without parents. We lost so many family members and grandparents and everything during COVID. So who's going to guide us? Who's going to lead us, especially in areas that God is calling us to that we never seen before? Those things that we're pivoting from and pivoting to, and it's in the dark. We have no clue where we're going. So writing that book that's associated with your particular brand, personal brand, business brand, corporate brand, your position in an area, especially if you're a unicorn, such as I am as a Black female publisher. So I have a school where I have a book fair, and the principal always says, Ms. Royston is really Black history in the making, because they're writers, but she's also a publisher and female and African-American. So therefore, when you make those type of statements, you're in those type of spaces, you should leave your mark as well in those type of spaces, which is your legacy for the next year.
And we stand on the shoulders.
Oh my Lord, yes we do.
I put in the foreword of one of our books that a reminder for African Americans, there was a point in time where we weren't even allowed to read,
Yes.
let alone now we're in a space where we can write and publish. And
Yes.
so we are our ancestors' wildest dreams. Thank you,
Wildest dreams.
Miss Corey said, good word. What legacy are you leaving? Absolutely. And Cookie from New York. Wow, I have a lot to talk about. Absolutely. And she's got grandchildren and all that. And you know what, Julia, it might be recipes. You know, sometimes people think, oh, I don't have this whole big, but maybe it's recipes of that potato salad, that sweet potato.
Oh my God. Just take a picture of it. I need 40 of them. At least 40 to 50. I'm serious. 40 to 50. Because, you know, people don't cook, and then they weren't taught to cook. So they don't know what it's supposed to look like. And recipes, cookbooks, people are purchasing those as well. So if you have guidance, and then put some videos along with it too, and then let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen. Listen, time is up. I'm telling you, time is spent. And so I want to honor your time. So one more time, how can people work with you? Number one, I'd love for you to share that. And then where should they go? What's their next step?
Well, if you want to work with me, go to talkwithroyston.com. You can find that link also at juliaakroyston.com. That's where everything is. All my stores, all my websites, everything there. And there's a link that says talkwithroyston.com. Get on my calendar. Let's have a conversation. Let me hear your heart. Even if it's just something in your head, you haven't written anything down, let's have that conversation. I have classes. I have one-on-one sessions, as well as pre-recorded courses, everything. So just let's reach out. Let's make it happen so you can leave a legacy for your brand for the next generation.
Yeah, so well said. And Lynette said yes to the recipes. Yes to the recipes there. And so last question. The goal of the show is to motivate, excite, and influence. And we want to know what continues to motivate Julia Royston.
Well, I have no biological children of my own. So that's a part of my legacy that I leave for my nieces and godchildren and goddaughters and godsons, is that I was here. And that even though I have no biological children of my own, I've taught for thousands of children for 22 years in education. And so this is a part of what I leave, my breadcrumbs, as you say, the footprints, the logistics, that's information, something that's empowering and motivating, and knowing that there's a generation out there who does need guidance and who does require that information. And what I have to offer and what I've been through, it wasn't just for me, it was for someone else. So that's my why. That's a part of that. And also what God has blessed me to be able to do. And I know that others can do it too. Maybe much, much, much better and much, much easier. But I need to prepare a platform for them and provide the tools and resources so they too can live their best life.
All right, there you have it, Julia A. Royston. Give hubby my love and
I will.
hashtag rich auntie vibes going on over there.
Most definitely. It's always a pleasure. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Awesome. Woo, all right. So if you've been on the fence about writing a book, this was your nudge to push you over the edge. And in particular, around writing a book that's associated with your brand, with your framework, with your intellectual property, with frequently asked questions, with those famous recipes you might have. This was your nudge to do that. And again, this segment was brought to you by my sixth book collaboration. I joined forces with 11 of our clients to write Position to Pivot, Empowering Strategies for Your Next Chapter. February 5th is the pre-orders. Listen, I want y'all to pre-order thousands and thousands and thousands. And I'm really excited because this particular book collaboration, I've spent, I won't say it's a detour, but it became evident to me that the principles and really the framework that we talk about as far as building your platform for a business owner, actually there were similarities around building your platform, your personal brand, your visibility within corporate America, which helps with your next appraisal, which helps with lateral moves, which certainly will help with promotions, which will help with increased revenue and all of that. So I'm excited that my particular chapter in this book. It's called The Platform Builder. So corporate version, and it's all around building your personal brand in the workplace to increase your morale, own your career destiny. And that's going to equate to more money for you. And I got to this because of clients in our Platform Builder program started coming back kind of saying, hey, I'm working on this on my business and some clients certainly are full-time. We have Platform Builder clients that are full-time business, and we have clients that are building their brand on the side while managing and having a full life and a full career. And they started noticing, hey, I'm getting asked to speak, on behalf of my department and go to this conference on behalf of my department, and moved up the corporate ladder. Because why? You're still managing a visibility strategy as an employee. You're still managing a personal brand. And so I'm just really excited about Position to Pivot. That's just one. There's tons of other stories of transition, or if you find yourself at a crossroad where you're having to decide, am I going to go left? Am I going to go right? This Position to Pivot is going to be a book you want to have in your arsenal. Again, it'll be on pre-order starting next week. I'll make sure you have all the details, and I want y'all just to order thousands and thousands and thousands of the books. Thank you, Sharice, for popping on in. Thank you, Cookie. This was a great show, right? Thank you, Michelle, for being here talking about cooking. Listen, if you are in Atlanta, you need to connect with Michelle. Michelle, drop your information. She caters and has all of this amazing food. Thank you, Miss Corey, and Julia. Thank you again for being a part of this amazing platform. It's a wrap. We're going to see you all later on the web. Episode 721 coming up next week. Bye.
Live from Richmond, Virginia, you've been listening to the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. Catch Sharvette Mitchell every Tuesday at 6 p.m. interviewing all the stars you want to hear from. So until next week, stay motivated, excited, and influenced. This is the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show.